Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can lean on me. You can lean on us right here, right now at Unity on Cape Cod. Because we understand that when we are healed, we're not healed alone. And this is a great time to go within and accept your healing and to further your healing in your life. Today's message is partly inspired by this wonderful song that was written by Greg Tamblyn called My Atoms Are Your Atoms. And it comes from this, it was partly coming from this truth that we are all made up of the same stuff. Physically, we're all made up of atoms, and we all share the same atoms. When I breathe in, I breathe in 10 to the power of 22 atoms. And I breathe out that same amount of millions and millions and billions of atoms. And so we exchange those atoms all the time. But on a more fundamental level, on a smaller level, we're all energy. And spiritually, we're all part of the universal mind of God. We are all part of the source and substance of all that is. We are all made up of eternal, divine substance. But the specific idea that I want to explore today, within this greater context that we are one in substance and in truth, is that when I am healed, I'm not healed alone. Because it's more than just our atoms that are being healed. It's the mind that shapes the atoms into the forms that we experience. It's the thoughts, it's the divine ideas that shape the substance of our world. And so it's very important, especially in these times, to allow your mind a little time for healing. Think about this. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. That's a universal law. And if we are all one, then that law would hold true. We are truly one and intrinsically connected to each other. And we're really feeling that now. Because if we can all experience a virus together physically, we can all experience healing together. You know, I propose something that this divine law is more powerful than the physical laws that you now hold. I propose that healing and wholeness, kindness and compassion are infinitely more contagious than any virus of the body. Hallelujah, somebody said out there. Do you really feel it? Do you feel what's happening in the world? Is that our healing and our wholeness and our kindness and our compassion are starting to raise up and become more evident. And I'm seeing more people say, you know what? Blaming the other guy just doesn't work anymore. You know, and so today I want to explore the real healing that's taking place among the human race. The healing of our minds and the return to love. The light is returning to our minds. The inevitable spiritual evolution of consciousness is being accelerated. If you're looking around the world and you see only death and disaster everywhere, perhaps you're being called to let your mind be healed. Perhaps it's time to make that shift in consciousness. We know that we rise by one thing and one thing alone. And that is by lifting others. That's how we rise. So please, do not feed the fears. I saw this road sign in the map of my brain, in the map of my mind, because I get fearful in my mind too, just like anybody else. And so, when you're getting into those fears, remember that road sign. You're going down that road of fear. You're going down that road of separation or blame. Or you're going down that road of what if. Stop and see that road sign. Please don't feed the fears. We're going to get out of this situation a lot faster if we stay centered and we stay focused and we allow the individual healing of our minds. I think that's the most important thing, because when I am healed, I'm not healed alone. I am often asked by other folks, like, how can you be so positive in these times? How can you be so positive when all this stuff's going on? How can you possibly see the good in this situation? How can you see this as an opportunity and not a crisis? Well, one thing that really helps me is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very powerful tool, but it's not the kind of forgiveness that first sees the guilt and blames somebody else for what's going on, and then proclaims some magnanimous absolution. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is what I was talking about on Easter Sunday and Palm Sunday. It's seeing the Christ in yourself and others. But I'm proposing that if we attempt to see the Christ in others, that's the way we'll see it in ourselves. So let's do that. Let's begin this process of forgiveness. Christ is in everyone. And when we help to lift others up to that vision of the Christ in them, who are unaware now of their own divine nature, what happens? We said it last week. The world raises up another notch in consciousness. The world is more awake. We are awakening. And since in ultimate truth that the world is a projection of your mind, when your mind is healed and awake, everything in the world will be awake with you. But we're going to back up a little bit to forgiveness, because there's a wonderful story of the master teacher Yeshua teaching his disciples about forgiveness. I think it's in Matthew 18, verses 21 and 22. There may be a little adaptation here from myself. Let's see. Peter came and said to him, "Lord, how often shall I forgive my brother? How often shall my brother sin against thee?" I don't think that's possible, but that's how Peter saw it. "How often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Until 7 times? Yeshua said to him, "I say not unto you until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Then Peter returned to the disciples, and he said unto them, "Not only do we have to forgive, now we have to do math." But seriously, healing and forgiveness go hand in hand. Everyone I release from the bondage of guilt and the bondage of judgment takes on the light of my healing. Yeah, just keep forgiving all the time. What is 7 times 70? I don't have to figure that out. I have to forgive all the time. Sometimes, for some of us, it's easier just to forgive than to multiply 7 times 70. So let's just forgive constantly. Constantly look for the divine in each and every brother and sister that you meet. As you let yourself be healed, all those that you see around you, or who cross your mind, or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, are healed along with you. This is what I just said. Everyone I release from the bondage of my own guilt and blame takes on the light of what? My healing. So we are being healed. It's actually simultaneous, but in time, it looks like cause and effect. That I forgive and then I'm healed. Or I feel a healing and then I forgive. It doesn't matter which comes first. It matters that you get into this constancy of Christ's vision, which sees all things as healed and whole. I know it's impossible for a human being to understand, but it's not impossible for you who are divine, you who have the Christ Spirit within you. It's not impossible for the Christ within you, because that's how the Christ sees. It sees only healing and wholeness everywhere it looks. So some of the wonderful aspects of healing are this. attributes of healing. Here we go. Are you ready? Attributes of healing. Healing is freedom. So when I'm feeling free, guess what? I'm healed. I'm free from the bondage of whatever has been blocking me from experiencing the flow of the universe. Whether it's a disease in my body or just a thought in my mind that's blocking me from being happy, blocking me from being liberated and free. Right? Wow, healing is the release of that. Let's release ourselves from all of these ideas. Not just our fearful ideas, but how about our angry ideas? That we want someone else to pay for our pain. That's really important. That we stop attacking one another and continue to love one another. Continue to see, even, what did Yeshua say? He said, love your enemies. Now that's like the hardest teaching for a human being. But when you love your enemies, guess what you find out? You really don't have any enemies. That's healing of the mind, and that's freedom. So healing is also shared. It's that I am sharing my experience with the world. Whatever's occurring inside of me, I'm sharing that with the world. It's amazing because I'm sharing something with you that's occurring with me, and now we're both in that environment. And I really love it because I used to say, the kids that were acting out, I used to say, I'm going to love you whether you like it or not. And just, after a while, they'll flail around, maybe throwing a temper tantrum. But if you keep loving them, guess what? All that gets healed. So healing is shared. And if that happens with one person, it really is experienced by everyone who's around. Healing is always shared because we are one and we are connected. Healing is also strength because we are one and we are connected. That when we are healed, we are strong. When we are strong, we know we can do anything. We can overcome anything. A lot of healing is taking place. In the midst of this pandemic, a lot of healing is taking place because we're getting in touch with how strong we are, individually and collectively. And I really love that. So healing is strength. It's not only inner strength, but it's collective strength in communities, in society, in the world. It is an inner power. So healing also not only brings forgiveness, it is forgiveness. It could be considered the ultimate forgiveness or the forgiveness of yourself, coming into your own perfect, universal, divine nature or the Christ self. Your Buddha nature if you're a Buddhist. It's that perfect one that exists within you. And so we let that perfect one represent us in the world, and we are healed and we are forgiven. We forgive our mistakes. We forgive our mistaken sense of separate identity. We've created this identity that is separate from God or separate from each other and separate from the earth and separate from nature. And we feel isolated. The Course in Miracles, I'm going to read you a little from Lesson 137. It says sickness is actually isolation. So we're not isolating. We are actually reconnecting through a little physical distancing. We step back, right? And we see that we are connected. I love how that works. It's really extraordinary. We are connected. And so I want us to keep strong that connection through forgiveness, because forgiveness is healing. Healing is also joining with others, and that's what happens for each and every one of us whenever we feel cared for, whenever we join in a meeting like this, a spiritual meeting, when we join in prayer, when people fall in love. You can feel that joining of souls, that merging of your spirits, that incredible healing energy that occurs where everything else disappears and you're so completely present with the one or the ones that you are with. You are joined in truth. And since we are joined already, it's a very easy and powerful experience. Just act like you're in love with whoever you're with, and it will become true. You'll see them as yourself. You will see the love of God in their eyes. You will see it coming from them. This increased isolation that people feel, well, that was going on when we were all together physically. And somehow when we separated the bodies out from each other, we start feeling connected again. It's a phenomenon, but it's a healing phenomenon that's occurring. And I'm joining with people now from all over the world through the blessing of the internet. And I really remember that we have shared so much. And we forget in our day-to-day routine of living our lives. We forget all the beautiful people that we are connected to. So let us join together again. Let us rejoin in our souls and remember that we are forever connected. That every true experience we've ever had is forever and forever. It never goes away. Once you have met me, we part physically. I don't say goodbye. I say hello forever. For now we have joined in spirit and in truth, or rejoined in that place where we recognize the light in each other. So healing is joining. Healing is also oneness. It's a recognition of oneness, and that's the result of joining, is that you return to oneness. So when I am healed, I'm not healed alone. This is from A Course in Miracles. It's adapted because it's a long lesson. I just picked out a few important sentences. And if you would like to just listen for a moment, I would love to share this with you. When I am healed, I am not healed alone. As you let yourself be healed, you see all those around you or who cross your mind, whom you seem to touch or who seem to have no contact with you at all, healed along with you. Perhaps you will not recognize them all, nor realize how great your offering is to all the world when you let healing come to you. But you are never healed alone. And legions upon legions will receive the gift that you receive when you are healed. Those who are healed become the instruments of healing. Those who are healed become the instruments of healing. And time does not elapse between the instant they are healed and all the grace that is given them to give. What is opposed to God does not exist. What is opposed to God does not exist. And who accepts no opposites within his mind can become a haven where the weary can remain to rest. Would you not offer shelter to God's will? You but invite yourself to be at home. Today we will ask that only truth occupies our minds. That thoughts of healing will this day go forth to what is healed, from what is healed to what yet must be healed. Aware that they will both occur as one. And we will remember as the hour strikes, our function is to let our minds be healed. Our function is to let our minds be healed, that we may carry healing to the world, exchanging curse for blessing, pain for joy, and separation for the peace of God. Let healing be through you this very day as you rest in quiet. Be prepared to give as you have received, to hold but what you give, and to receive the Word of God to take the place of all the foolish thoughts we've ever imagined. Now we come together to make well all that was sick and offer a blessing where there was attack. And nor will we let this function be forgot as every hour of the day slips by, remembering our purpose with this one thought: when I am healed, I am not healed alone, and I would share my healing with the world. And I would bless my brothers and sisters, for I would be healed along with them, as they are healed with me. So, my friends, please take this time of physical distancing to get even closer emotionally and spiritually. Take this time to accept healing for yourself and for the world. And remember, when you're healed, you're not healed alone. And by accepting your healing, you will not only be blessed, you will be a blessing. And remember to be in the moment, to live in the moment of your healing and your regeneration. Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live in the moment each and every day. And I will join with you each and every day in the truth of who we are. So let's sing this song together by Jason Mraz. It's called Living in the Moment.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.